Welcome for our today's lessons. At this time, we are going to share on volcanoes, and I just have to make some preview. On the previous lesson, we had looked at various volcanic activities, including volcanicity and earthquake. Remember, in volcanicity and earthquake, we were able to explore extrusive and intrusive volcanicity. We also looked at the significance of both features that are resulting always as a result of extrusive volcanicity and intrusive volcanicity. I hope you will be able to remember some of the landforms that are resulting from intrusive volcanicity. Do you remember them? I'll just remind you a few of them. There are 5 features of volcanic intrusive volcanicity. Those landforms that are resulted as a result of the magma extruding and cooling within the bedding planes of the crust or rocks, which will always lead to the formation of the intrusive features. These features are always found within the crusts, and one of it is a batholith. Yes, we have laccolith, we have a seal, we have a dike, and a phaccolite. Those features, we looked at them in various how they are formed on the equivalent regions. We also looked at the significance of those features over the Earth's surface. Today, as we look into the streaming view of volcanoes, we'll be able to look at the major and specific areas of volcanoes. Remember, a volcano is still part of volcanicity, but this is different because it's a volcano. Therefore, if there are so many, they form what we call volcanoes. And mostly volcanoes are the mountains which have been formed as a result of volcanic eruption. Therefore, during volcanoes, you'll find that the small islands that is known as Krakatoa, which is located in the west of Java in Indonesia, that has experienced various activity of volcanic, and it erupted many years ago. For example, in 1883, an island of Krakatoa near Java in Indonesia erupted. And what did it go? This has been recorded in the historic world of volcanoes. As a result of that, it caused large explosion that have ever been experienced in the human history. Therefore, it is recorded for the purpose of studying and looking into it, because after exploding violently, that eruption, it caused also a very loud noise that could also be clearly heard at a distance of around 5,000 kilometers away. And eventually, because of the sound that was being able to be heard during that eruption, can now mark they are around 4,000, 6,000 years ago, and still we have to remember the incidents of Krakatoa are among the volcanoes. During also its eruption, it completely destroyed itself and produced a wave of 40 meters high. It produced a wave of 40 meters high. This wave traveled at a distance of around 16 kilometers, and it killed a lot of people. Around 36,000 people died. This was a massive eruption that have ever occurred in the world, in the historical world. Therefore, and when we look into details about the volcanoes, we'll be able to find out that there are various volcanoes, around 1,500 volcanoes that are termed to be active in the whole world globally. And these volcanoes around the world, some of them are actually erupting day and night, and a number of them often goes unnoticed. Why? Because in areas where they occur, it is beyond human reach. We cannot record them. Some of them occurs under the ocean, that is in the water. Therefore, they will just go unnoticed. But they are numerous of active volcanoes. The only incidents that we are able to find and see them, and also to record them, they are those that happens on the land surface, causing various devastating effects. And that is why we'll be able to find a number of them are active. Some of the active volcanoes, remember, these are the volcanoes that are shown sign of eruption in the near future, and at least they have erupted in the recent past. But those that are regarded as dormant, or they are also getting extinct, some of the volcanoes become dormant. They become dormant when they become dormant when they are at least erupted around 50 to a period of 50 years ago, and it become dormant. If it does not show sign of eruption in the near future, although it erupted, it is just dormant up to now, around 50 years. And then the one that is almost getting extinct, it is around 50 years to around 100 years. If it is almost at this age, then we will say such type of volcano is extinct. Therefore, it is almost a dead volcano. It cannot erupt anymore. And that means some of the igneous activities have reduced or have stabilized in some given areas. Therefore, there are also a number of active volcanoes in Australia which are also dormant. In Australia, perhaps there are no active volcanoes. There are no. Most mountains that are found in Australia, they are dormant. For example, we have Mount Gambier. We have Mount Gambier. It is found in South Australia. This seemingly to be dormant because it erupted around 4,600 years ago. It has been rendered dormant because look at this period of time. and therefore it has entered into the extinct volcanoes. This is a good example that is found in Australia. And therefore, we'll be able to look at when we are able to understand various volcanoes globally or in the world, then we will be able to learn how to manage them. Now, most of these volcanoes, where do they occur? They occur at the edges of the plate tectonic. Most of the volcanoes occur at the edge of the plate tectonic, and as a result of that, in the area where there is plate tectonic, there is a lot of pressure which form the gases in the mantle, which is formed from the gases in the mantle, that is in the molten rock, that is comes upwards. That one normally explodes with lava, ash, and bursting through the Earth's surface into the air and releasing some of the eruption, leading into the formation of dust, smoke, gases, and even some fumes. For example, when an eruption may come from when an eruption comes from a single vent, the eruption of this magma may be pushed out from a single vent onto the Earth's surface, and it will begin flowing as lava. Although to some given extent, it may also occur into multiple vents. And these multiple vents, we referred to them as fissures because it's more than one. And remember, when the multiple vents, volcanic eruption try to occur through the multiple vents, you will find that it may lead to the formation of various features that are actually extrusive, such as the hot spring, steam jets, and even geysers sometime, while the single vent mostly lead to lava flows. When the lava flows over the Earth's surface, it will lead to the formation of extrusive landforms. These ones are found on the Earth's surface. We are able to see them, such as the plug dome. You remember a number of them. And when the eruption occurs, there is also another thing that happens during the eruption. The temperature of lava normally gives rise to different color of lava. The high temperature, the temperatures that is generated, the temperature always give rise to a color to a new color. That new color that is always formed of lava, new color of lava. As much as we are able to understand that lava is basically black in its original point, there are some ranges of temperatures that magma may turn into different color. Why? Because at a certain temperature in the interior of the earth, remember when we were looking at the structure of the earth, we mentioned as into the three layers of the structure of the earth, we have what we call the crust, the mantle, and the core. In the interior, where the core is found, the temperature is very high. And remember, it ranges between 5,000 degrees Celsius. And sometimes it goes up to some given areas, it goes up to 6,000 degrees centigrade. Such temperature is very high. But when you move away from the inner core, you come to the outer core and into the mantle, the temperature reduces. That is why the magma that flows into the mantle is somehow black, because the temperature have reduced. But those that are in the interior, if they are exposed with its original temperature, they have different color that will give rise to variety of that will actually give rise to a new color of lava. I would like us to see various temperature ranges and the kind of color that is be seen on various forms of lava. We will have the temperature range here. At what temperature? And then we look at the color. The color of lava. When we look at this table, the temperature that is above 1,000, that is above 1,150 degrees centigrade, it will give rise to a white color of lava. Therefore, the color of lava will be white in the temperature that is above 1,150 degrees centigrade. And as a result of that, you will find that at this range, this is what kind of lava that is given out. When we look at another range of temperature, the temperature that is between 1,000 and 1,150 degrees, now it changes to be yellow. It gives us the yellow color. There is a temperature that ranges between 900 degrees Celsius to 1,000 degrees Celsius. It gives rise to an orange color of magma. In the temperatures that ranges between 500 to 900 degrees centigrade, always the kind of magma is red. And lastly, Lastly, we look at that is below 500, any temperature range that is below 500 degrees Celsius. Then automatic, this is the basic lava that we know it is black in color. Therefore, from this range of temperature, you are coming from the outer core. That is where the temperature ranges between 1000 to around 3000. This is not the outer core, but it is the outer mantle. It is the outer mantle when we look at it. But now, when you come actually into the, this is where actually the outer mantle is found here, lava becomes black. When we go into the some innermost place of the the outer mantle, and then it turns red. When we go deep into the core now, it begins to be orange. When we go into the outer core, this is the outer core, and the inner core, it becomes yellow. The inner core deeper, it becomes white. That is, this temperature range gives us various color of lava. And as a result of that, most volcanoes just release clouds and steam, which are also called fumes and smokes. This molten rock that is always in form of magma chamber is referred to as magma. Then we are able to look into it very carefully. Then should we have been able to understand that magma is a molten rock that is in form, that is in which form? It is in molten form. And where is it found? Is found in the magma chamber. Therefore, the magma chamber is always found under the earth's surface. And under the earth's surface, you will have to go through various layers into the earth's surface that will lead to the formation of magma chamber. And then during the formation of the magma chamber, remember, high temperatures have been involved here. When magma reaches the earth's surface, it actually cools to form what we call lava. When magma reaches the earth's surface, it forms lava. And this lava is made up of some gases such as hydrogen sulfide and steam. There are some of these gases such as hydrogen sulfide. This one is always found in the magma, and this gas normally gives off a smell like a rotten egg. And this is the reason why some of the hot springs and around the volcanic areas, you will find a very bad smell that smell like a rotten egg. In this region, it is this gas that causes that. As a result of that, we'll be able to look at. Now, when the hot volcanic ash, steams and gases form a vast moving cloud, you will find that the hot volcanic ash, the steam and the gases, these will form a very huge cloud. This cloud has been emitted in form of explosive bomb into the atmosphere. As a result of that, when we look at the Krakatoa island, that is the area where we have to look at it very careful. It was estimated to have moved up to a height of 80 kilometers into the atmosphere. Mark you, I promise you that we shall be able to look at various types of the atmosphere, the layers of the atmosphere, maybe in the next lesson. This ash that was formed during the eruption of the 1994 of especially such as this mountain, the mountain that is called Taruviv, the Taruviv mountain that erupted in 1994. 94. This one is found in Papua, that is New Guinea. It is found in Papua, that is New Guinea. This crashed the nearby town. It crashed the nearby town that is referred to as Rabaul. And as a result of that, this town was crushed because of the eruption that occurred in those areas. And as a result of that, the rain that always occurs after the eruption, it will turn the ash into a very muddy mixture of the lava, ash, and some mud. We call them the lars. Especially on the steep lands, on the steep slopes, they move at a very high speed and a very high rate, therefore forming what we call devastating effect, because they are moving down the stream. This may sweep even a number of people to die as a result of that. Therefore, when we look at the volcanic ash can also travel just like a jet stream, which can exist to around 30 kilometers of altitude, and such ashes, we have them. These ash can have some devastating effects. One of the effect is they may block the sunlight. They may block the sunlight from reaching the Earth's surface. This may block the sunlight from reaching the Earth's surface, as a result of that altering some temperatures into the lower zones of the atmosphere. For example, the ash that resulted from the eruption of mountain of Pinatubo. Pinatubo Mountain is found in Philippines. Those are small islands near Australia. It almost blocked sun rays from reaching the Earth's surface to a level of 4%. And therefore, when 4% of sun rays are blocked from reaching the Earth's surface, completely it alters the climate of that area. And that is some of the effects that we may find out that lead to the cause of this. Therefore, we are able to look at the volcanoes in this manner, then exploring some various aspects of volcanoes, and when they occur, they bring some of the devastating effect on Earth. When we come to this part, we'll be able to view it in a different angle as we are going to wind up this part. We will be able to understand major volcanoes that are in the world. They have had some effect on the Earth's surface, especially the ash. We also have dust, and we also have some fumes, even the smoke. All of these have some effect. For example, when the ash, dust, and smoke are prevalent into the atmosphere, I've just given an example of the Mount of Pinatubo. When it takes longer time in the atmosphere, what happens? Also, some airplane may not be able to move. For example, there is a certain year that is during the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, that is around in the Philippines. There is an airplane, a Boeing 747, was flying within the continents across the region where the smoke was. And the ash, dust, and some of the smoke actually, because the radar is not very much sensitive to the ash and the dust that are found in the atmosphere of a plane, that one resulted to jam around all the total 4 engines of an airplane that was a Boeing 747, which resulted into jamming of the engine of the airplanes. And as a result of that, the pilot lacked movement. And as a result of that, the plane crashed. Therefore, this is also one of the effects of these volcanoes. And that is why the volcanologists are trying their level best to predict with a lot of accuracy if there is an active volcano going to erupt. It is now better. Some of the activities now, like flying through the airplane, must be stopped. Now, the one that erupted in the Philippines, that smoke stayed in the atmosphere for around a period of 3 months. And a period of 3 months, that smoke did not settle down very fast. And as a result, it found a pilot unaware. That is where the plane crashed. And around a number of people who were passengers died. Those are some of the effects of volcanoes that we are able to look at them all over the world. I would like to summarize this lesson by also reviewing some questions. These questions are also very much important because they will help us to have a concept of this topic that we have just been covering. I have several questions, around 7 of them. We'll be able to review them one after the other. One of the questions reads this way: state the number of volcanoes. State the number of volcanoes in the world. And give reasons. State the number of volcanoes that are mainly in the world. Number of volcanoes mainly in the world. Number of volcanoes mainly in the world. Questions 2 say that state what Krakatoa was and what is it famous. and why is it famous? Why is it famous? These two questions help us to remember quickly. All over the world, we have had several volcanoes. They are almost 1,500 volcanoes that are happening in the whole world. And we have been able to look at it that out of these, they are very much active, although some of them may go unnoticed because they are found under the ocean. When we look at the question 2, ask us that, state what Krakatoa was and why is it so much famous? Krakatoa is found in Java, in Indonesia, and it was originally a mountainous region. Why is it famous? It is famous because of the mountain that erupted explosively, producing a sound that almost was being able to be heard 5,000 kilometers away, destroying around a good number of people. That is around 36,000 people who died. It also generated a very huge wave that was almost going to 40 meters high or 40 kilometers high. And it was traveling to a speed of 15 kilometers, causing a lot of destruction. And as a result of that, the smoke that was emitted into the atmosphere gave various fumes into the space, causing a problem even to human, because hydrogen sulfide, as being one of the fumes, has got an inhaling diseases, or it may cause a respiratory disease on human being. Question 3 says, state the location of Australian volcano that is almost extinct. State the location. The location of the Australian volcano that is almost extinct. Where is it located? In fact, the question wants us to find the location of a volcano in Australia that is almost extinct. The location is found in the south of Australia, and if it's identified, we go to the southern parts of Australia. That is the location. The volcano itself, it is known as Mount Gambier. That is the area where it is found. It's found in South Australia and is known as Mount Gambier. Explain why volcanic eruption sometimes goes unnoticed. That is question 4. This is a question for us to remember. Ask us to explain why some volcanoes goes unnoticed. Some of the volcanoes goes or explode unnoticed or may erupt unnoticed because they occur under the water, especially in the ocean. When we have volcano or volcanic eruption in the ocean, we may not be able to notice them because we do not have sophisticated equipments that are able to detect the movement or the flow of lava in the ocean. We will only find the ocean floor already filled with new and fresh lava which has already cooled, solidified on the ocean floor. Thus the level of water rising to some given regions, but we are never noticed of such volcanoes. That is why some of the volcanoes eruption goes unnoticed. When we look at question 5, the question 5 asks us, explain why volcanic ash rise. Why the volcanic ash rise high in the air? Rise. Why the volcanic ash rise? Or the volcanic cloud rise to form cloud. This is because during eruption or during eruption activity, eruption occurs in an explosive manner. It occurs explosively, throwing ash into the atmosphere. And once the ash has been thrown into the atmosphere, it will go and rise up, forming a volcanic an ash cloud that will rise in given regions of volcanic eruption. As it stretches into the atmosphere, the fume will spread. The reason is because of explosion that results in the throwing of the ash into the atmosphere. We are also able to look at question 6. What does question 6 say? Describe 3 different situations in which volcanic ash can be dangerous. Describe 3 situations . 3 situations in which volcanic ash can be dangerous. Quickly, you can remember 3 incidences. First of all, when volcanic ash is thrown into the air or into the atmosphere, there are some fumes such as hydrogen sulfide, these are gases, hydrogen sulfide, that are very much dangerous to human health because they cause what we call respiratory disease. Respiratory disease will be caused. And again, as a result of that, the ash is very dangerous because there are some given scenarios it has ever jammed the engine of airplane. You remember the incidents of erupting Mount Pinatubo, that it erupted causing a Boeing 747 engine that jammed and therefore led into the plane crash. Leading the plane to crash. And when the plane crashes, what happened? When the plane crashes, people will die. Lastly, the third situation, you will find that when volcanic ash is emitted into the air, it blocks sun rays from reaching part or some parts of the Earth's surface, and therefore altering the temperature in that region. And perhaps when the temperature is altered, some of the life supporting things such as the flora and fauna will be difficult, especially when temperature is tempered. Even the activities of the human body is tempered. And that are the three scenarios or three situations that can help us to understand volcanic ash is very dangerous, because they may block sun rays from reaching some parts of the Earth's surface, and therefore, to given even 4%, that one reduces the solar radiation that reaches the Earth's surface and also interfere with the warming of the environment. Question 7 asks us to define the following. Question 7 asks us to define the following. We have to define lava. We also have to define magma chamber. We have to define fume. And lastly, we have to look at the lava. Do you remember any of the meaning of this? Lava. What is lava? Lava is simply a molten rock that is flowing on Earth's surface. And where is lava found? Lava originates from the magma chamber. Therefore, what is magma chamber? Magma chamber is where the original magma is found, and it is below the Earth's surface. What about the fume? Fume are a gas which are very much poisonous, such as hydrogen sulfide, emitted during eruption that sometime may prevail into the atmosphere and cause respiratory diseases. Lastly, what is a lava? Lava is simply a mixture of mud that has been formed as a result of volcanic ash being mixed with mud, and they are flowing on a very steep slope of the volcanic mountain at a very fast rate. The rate of flowing is very high, flowing at a very high rate there is lava, and sometimes it may cause devastating effects on people's life, and as a result of that, it will be able to cause devastating effects. Question 8 asks us to identify 5 different volcanic materials. We have to identify 5 different volcanic materials. Actually, we have already mentioned them. One of the materials that result from volcanic include the fumes. We have dust. We have smoke. Any other one that you may be able to remember? Very fast, we have lava. And lastly, we have ash. We have volcanic ash. If there are 5, we have to identify them. They are very simple. They are fumes, dust, ash, smoke, and lava. And the specific fume is the hydrogen sulfide, which is also very poisonous. Question 9 asks us to identify what causes smell that is always around. What causes smell that is always around volcanic region or volcanic areas and hot springs? What causes smell that is always around volcanic areas? Volcanic areas and hot springs. What is it that causes? That one already I had shared with you. You'll be able to respond to that question. Therefore, when you respond to that question, you will be able to have found out that this topic and its concept is very simple, and therefore will be able to find it very interesting. Therefore, when you are able to respond to this question, then we'll be able to see what can volcanoes do on the Earth's surface. We have been able to systematically look into volcanoes, and we have also reviewed this concept of volcanoes and how they occur, sometime leading to the formation of ash, the ash cloud, the dusts, the smoke are emitted into the atmosphere, and the lava flows on the Earth's surface. Although there are some benefit of these volcanoes. What do you think is the benefit? One of the positive benefit of volcano is based on the lava. This lava goes and form what we call volcanic soil. Remember, soil can also be a resource. It's a resource on Earth. It is one of the Earth resources that can be used to plant some crops, because the fertile volcanic soils can help farmers to practice agriculture therefore planting variety of crops. That is much more about volcanoes. We'll be able to move and meet in the next lesson. That is, we'll be looking at the geological time as we come to the end of this very good and very interesting topic, volcanicity and earthquakes. We'll be able to meet in the next as we'll be looking at geological time. Thank you.